This is the Catalan opening. They're playing at quite the pace. Dane chooses to go for something that is more directed against central control. Only kings remaining on the board in Singapore.
We are 9 games into the World Chess Championship match, and the champion and his challenger are still tied after those 9 games. And after 2 roller coaster games in Game 7 and Game 8, well, the players had left the amusement park today, and it was more about extreme accuracy. Welcome, everyone, to the Take post-game show with our 2 power pundits. And let's bring in the first one, Magnus Carlsen. Yesterday, you were like a kid in the candy store. You were so excited about every single move. How are you feeling today, Magnus, about the game?
No, obviously this one was not nearly as exciting. Gukesh tried something else, something like a little bit more mainstream, although he again had his own little touch to it. But yeah, this game was obviously a bit of a letdown after the last couple.
And the balloons, you guys, are back in the studio because we have another birthday to celebrate. He is an international chess master. He has 5.7 million subscribers on YouTube. He is bringing chess to the world, opening up the game for so many more people to be able to follow and enjoy it. Gotham Chess, the internet chess coach, Levy Rosman. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. That was an amazing intro. I would like it for the rest of the recaps, because we got world number 1 and I need kind of like the rest of the bullet points. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Levy, at 29 years old, and I'm sorry for saying your age out loud, but you're only 29 years old. You have achieved so much. And I asked Magnus on his birthday, and I'll ask you as well. Do you on a day like this reflect on everything you have achieved?
I don't really do too much self-reflection, let's say, on birthdays. But just generally, like throughout the year, sometimes it's nice. But I'll be honest, like today, I'm just gonna work. Like we have this recap, and I'm currently relaunching my educational platform. So I'm gonna finish the recap, maybe take a nap because I woke up way too early today, and then I'm gonna work the whole day. But then I'm gonna have a nice dinner. So
okay, I'm glad to hear. And Magnus, are you ready to sing the happy birthday?
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever been less ready for anything in my life. But I do wish Levy a very happy birthday. I remember turning 29 myself, and it wasn't a big deal.
Exactly. He has a lot to
The
look
pain
forward
hadn't
to.
started coming yet, so.
Yeah. And Levy, you're making both me and Magnus feel very old today, by the way. 29, you're so young.
Listen, I gotta tell you, physically, like I said, not a day older than 50. And I don't look it, to quote Magnus. I actually didn't even realize in the moment that is what he said, because sometimes we have it's hard to hear each other. There's like a lag, and I was like, I thought he said something along the line, but I was like, oh, that is what he said. And I will take it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a silver fox already, so.
You look great, Levy. And everyone loves to hear you guys talk about chess, so let's dive into Game 9. First reaction, so we see it as a draw. There has been a lot of draws now in a row in Singapore. But I said it, after 2 roller coaster games, Game 9 was more about accuracy. Where should we dive into this game?
Yeah, I mean,
Magnus,
let's
how
start
about-
from the
Yeah.
The beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna. The beginning, as always.
Yeah, as always. It's a new opening today. I mean, the opening game that these 2 players are giving us, that's quite incredible.
It is somewhat surprising to me since the Catalan, well, I'm sure Gukesh had some concrete ideas everywhere. Like, I'm sure he wouldn't just play the Catalan without being prepared for everything, even though the line that Ding plays is kind of his main weapon. Um, but it is still a bit surprising to me that he is going here because it seems to me that that Ding would be more vulnerable. Like there is like Ding has not shown anything other than the French against E4, and now Gukesh is not playing it. I understand that you don't go and beat the French, but it's still a bit surprising to me that Gukesh hasn't returned there. Maybe he has some weird idea which he's saving. Maybe he feels like he doesn't know enough about what Ding's intentions are in the main line to feel confident to go there. Maybe he's still a bit spooked from that game one loss, but it's still surprising to me. Um, so we have the Catalan. Ding sort of plays his normal stuff, and then Gukesh, like, he didn't really show much. Like, he showed like a slight variation of a known concept with this bishop transfer. But the fact that Ding could spend time, make sort of, common sense moves and not have any major problems, that is not a good sign for Gukesh, because this is what he doesn't want Ding to be able to do.
I will echo a lot of that, and also I will say, I mean, Magnus, you've said things like Ding comes prepared for 7 white games with 7 concrete ideas. It really does feel like the concrete idea in this game came on the 10th move when Gukesh played this bishop to c3. Obviously, black has 2 approaches. Black can play b6, and also black can play a5. I played a5 in my match in Sweden, and yeah, this is like the closed Catalan now is very reliable for black. But bishop c3, Magnus, I swear you've put the bishop on e3 in some positions, and sometimes you play h4. Like I never know all of the details, but bishop c3 makes some sense to try to play on the diagonal, but it really didn't work out, did it? I mean, the game sort of petered out pretty quickly, but there was one moment, which we'll get to.
Yeah, the thing about this is I'm sure there were concrete lines with, I don't know, 94 looks natural going after the bishop and so on. And the thought was that if Ding plays like the normal way, maybe you have some lines in which you are slightly better, and maybe he just felt that this is the most he can do. But that's a little bit sad. And I felt like stylistically this wasn't a great choice. And Levy, as you said, like when it ends up just being a very symmetrical, equal position where um again, Ding spent all his time, and as we will see, like Cash maybe had some minuscule chances, but yeah, I don't think we'll see this again from Gukesh.
Okay. Well, at this point, this game had been seen 3 times before, I think, and there was a game between Anish Giri and Hans Niemann. And then Gukesh moves his queen, and that's the novelty in the game. Who came better prepared today? What team has done the best job?
Well, I can answer that. Ding gave an interview after, like right after the game, as he's been doing with Mike Klein, where he's asked, about everything from chess to ice cream, and he said he hadn't reviewed the line, something along like that. He said, "Oh, my team has been telling me I'm overtaking Hans Niemann in rating, but I forgot to check his game because I know there was a game between Giri and Niemann, but I forgot to check the game." So I guess Gukesh came better prepared. But if we talk about meta strategy, as Magnus said, it was maybe a poor stylistic choice. So you were so well prepared, but you were prepared in the wrong way. So I don't know who won the preparation battle in that case.
I asked you in the first recap that we did to make some predictions based on what you know of people around and on openings they play, to be detectives and sort of investigate what people are in the teams of the 2 players. Is it just impossible to do it for this match because they keep playing so many different things, or do you have something to say on this? Do you have some suspicions to people in the teams?
No, I don't think we have a lot to say, or I don't at the very least. I think a lot of what Gukash has been doing has reeked of Gaevsky, who we know is his main trainer, and then what what Ding has done has reeked of being unprepared or surprised, which we kind of unexpected as well. So,
Oh
so
man,
I'm not
I'm gonna
sure
see
we can we can say
The
that
Twitter
much.
preview of this clip. Oh man,
But I mean, Ding
Magnus,
is
isn't reeks a negative connotation? Like it reeks, but isn't it like not
maybe it's
bad?
too much. Yeah, it's a bit too much. But I think what this match has shown more than anything else is how incredibly difficult it is just to come up with anything
Mhm.
playable these days. And that's why we're so impressed when Gukesh actually manages to do it, like his rookie one idea in the Reti game we had a couple of games ago. So it is just so hard. And as Levi says, then you have these mini ideas like Bishop C3. Yes, Ding may have not checked it, but if this is how he's going to play this, it's gonna be hard to win.
Yeah. All right. Let's move forwards in the game. I don't know which move you want to go to. In move 13 for Ding, we have an emoji on the board. Usually my favorite parts of the game. Here it is. Not 100% sure sort of what that emoji is, but it's an emoji. What can you guys say about the position at this point?
Isn't that when you're making a point and you're like pointing at it? Also, like, don't athletes do this when they do something? They point up to like thank God. I don't
Ah.
know what I don't know what's going on there, but all right. Well, that's my insight. I mean, obviously the move is good. It's the thematic move of the position. If you can pull it off, you're very happy. But yeah. How about you, Magnus?
Yeah, I mean the move is an obvious one. If Ding doesn't play this move, then Gukesh is going to put the pawn on the same square and be comfortably better positionally. So yeah, I don't really know what this what this emoji is all about, but the move itself is natural, obvious, good, bringing you know
Yeah.
bringing the position even closer to equality.
Exactly. And after those two roller coaster games, I think maybe the two players were a little bit tired today. There is a rest day tomorrow. Does it look like, by the way they played so far in this game, that they want it to be a short day? They want to have a draw, both of them, or do you see some ambitious play here?
Well, I think Ding wants a draw every day in general. At least with the black pieces, and he said very much himself that he is tired. So I don't think there's any mystery there. As for Gukesh, well, he's a lot younger, so he shouldn't necessarily be tired. But I don't think his choice today was. I don't think there was any lack of ambition or anything. Like it just maybe wasn't a great choice, and it didn't work out to a great degree. So, uh, yeah, I think that's what it's about more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Levy, in your recap, take us to a moment that you felt was interesting or want to talk to Magnus about today.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing with games like this. But the truth is, this one compared to, let's say, game two, where I mean, folks can't. Sometimes we can't even remember what we had for breakfast. So that's ages ago at this point. That was just kind of a calm E45. But here there was still some moments. Ding had to be a bit precise. And maybe if we just kind of keep moving forward,
Yeah, let's just stop here though. Let's
after knight
stop
b6.
one move before. One move
Mm,
before. Because this is about as symmetrical as a position gets, especially one that's not sort of E4, E5 Italian stuff from move one. But if we're going to try and justify what Gukash has done in the opening, he is very slightly more developed. Like he has not sort of lost the advantage of the first move. So this is kind of the justification for playing like this, that you do have a very slight initiative and you're trying to argue that if black cannot completely extinguish it, maybe you can be better in the ensuing complications. But yeah, there it isn't real. And now I think we have sort of the only like really interesting sequence from this game
Hmm.
at all. Um, so if we just go one move forward, Queen B2, a move which I don't really 100% get, since Black can move his rook and oppose the queen, and I don't really see if Gukesh has that much. But regardless, Ding's response was fine. Um, Now Gukesh pins the knight with his bishop, as was evidently his plan. A pawn is traded. And here, well, Ding, I don't know how, but he has spent an hour, 25 minutes. Uh, Again, how?
Yeah.
And this is what I said the other day. Like doesn't matter the position. He's gonna spend his time regardless. And yes, there were a lot of positional subtleties coming up to this point, but they weren't worth spending this much time on. Um, and now Ding makes, like, if you're going to have spent so much time, you should have calculated everything. And here he could have equalized very comfortably. The only problem is that in order to do that, he has to make one fairly awkward move. But once you see that, then the danger is over. The position is equal, and you could take another rest day knowing that you're doing well in the match. So here he could have traded off more pieces, taken the knight, the rook takes the knight, the queen takes the bishop, the queen takes black's bishop, and now you can move the knight back, protecting the bishop. And like if you see this far and you see the move, you quickly realize that there's no danger here. And that's why you spend the time
Hmm.
in order to at this moment just equalize the game completely. Because what Ding did could have it could have backfired. Since this was the only moment in the game where Gukesh actually had a little bit of an initiative. So Ding goes for what he feels like is a very safe choice, and it is to some extent. Like his position is still fine, but now we can actually talk about Gukesh having a slight initiative. And who knows if Gukesh had been more, I don't know what to call it, sort of more vigilant, more accurate, anything like Ding could have potentially been put under some pressure here.
Hmm. And I'm just gonna hit
Yeah,
my take button
yeah,
because we
yeah,
had my favorite thing to do. Sorry
yes,
about
we had.
that. Go ahead,
No, it's
Levy.
okay. We had the captures in a we had the three captures in a row. Yeah. No, I was going to say without the level of expertise, but simply that like yeah, Ding got afraid of a position where Gukesh would have had some mild infiltration on the seventh rank. And as Magnus was alluding to, Ding would have had to defend accurately. So Ding said, well, rather than him taking my light squared bishop, I'm going to give him my light squared bishop. And I'm going for this position. I'm going to play my rook to a6, which was the next move of the game. And Ding basically thought, I'm fine. Yeah, objectively, probably. But I was wondering, like, why didn't Gukesh play knight e5, e3, king g2, h4? Just like slowly play the position on the light squares and yeah, apply pressure. Obviously, he doesn't have anything huge, but I was a bit surprised here, Magnus.
Yeah, so we have these lines in the sort of the main line Catalan where black goes for an early bishop e7 and castle instead of this check on b4. And there are all these positions where you end up with opposite colored bishops, and white has just a very, very slight initiative, which is sort of oftentimes all you hope for in the Catalan. That if you hope that if black plays well, that you can still have a very slight initiative. And Gukesh definitely has something here. His bishop is better. Uh, the pawn on b6 is a little bit weaker than the pawn on a2. Developing the bishop with g3, fianchettoing the bishop early on, has given him an escape square for the king that um, that Ding doesn't have, and Ding also has a slight tactical weakness with the rook on a6. So there are some factors here that tells you that white might have a little something. Of course, if you delve down deeply enough, it's going to end up in equality. It usually does, but this is more than nothing. And Gukesh here sort of went for the most concrete approach, which is understandable. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it didn't work, and also it gave Ding, who has very little time comparatively on his clock, it gave Ding a very clear target. This is what he's done wrong a lot of times. He's sort of when Ding has little time, he's sort of forced Ding to play well. Because here, Ding doesn't really have a choice. Is he going to make some weird move like Queen A7? No, he has to take the pawn. And after Gukesh takes this, well, Ding he doesn't have the widest path to uh to equality, but he doesn't have a lot of choices, so he's almost forced to find it. And this again, it's easy to say with hindsight, but I think Ukesh could have done a little bit better here, because there were ways to keep the tension and in a position that is objectively drawn, but it's at the moment not completely equal. So I think he just made it a little bit too easy here for Ding.
Hmm. So is that interesting sequence, Magnus, that you talked about? You said the only really interesting sequence in this game. Is that over now?
Yeah, I think it's more or less over. There are some tactics left based on the fact that King doesn't have an escape square um for his king, but it is only optically dangerous. In practice, um yeah, I mean, really, it isn't very dangerous, and Ding navigated it perfectly, and there was just really nothing much to talk about for the rest of the game. Yeah, Ding this did this more than sufficiently, and then there were just no pieces left on the board.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was a check that Gukash could have given with a queen on the back rank, and then if you capture it with a rook, you get checkmated. But if you block with a knight, there's no problem. That's why I'm saying like it's only optically dangerous. And once Dings creates an escape square for his king in this position, then all sort of intrigue about the position goes away.
Hmm. There was a discussion here in the Take live studio today that with the black pieces, Jon de Kammer, which is the grandmaster, the expert here, I was asking him, well, is this a situation where Magnus with the black pieces would have maybe kept pushing to see if there's potentially a win? And it wasn't quite clear,
Well,
the
then,
answer.
yeah, I mean, the knight is the knight is a slightly better piece than the bishop. Usually, when there are pawns only on one side, then there's less sort of mobility. So yeah, I mean, Ding has more reason than Gukesh to play for a win. And if I was playing somebody considerably lower rated, like I would definitely try and push here with the black pieces. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot has to go wrong for this to be even remotely unbalanced.
Mhm. And so it ended up with a draw, game 9, another draw. The accuracy was 99 point something for both players. So, Levy, to summarize this game, what was it about?
Solid.
Solid.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to give another word. The trend of Gukesh openings has been a bit strange, I must say. It was French, then he won in an exchange. Queen's Gambit declined, which he didn't go back to. Which, the position he got in that game was quite rich, and I somehow doubt that was the extent of the ideas. But like Magnus said, at the meta level, when White plays e4 and Black does not play e5 or the Sicilian, White can get a pretty decent position and then play it for a win. And Gukesh just isn't playing into the French anymore, which is fascinating. And in the recent game, he played a ready and got a very imbalanced game. And to play the Catalan against a man who played so much Catalan in his life, especially with White and with both colors, I mean, it's a bold choice, but it didn't really work out. And it's strange, Magnus, because I feel like the point has been Gukesh just puts a lot of pressure with White. And he's only got 2 White games left and 5 games overall. So I called this almost like a win for Ding. And he gets a rest day tomorrow after these last 2 games. Not a win like point-wise, but a win morally. What is the word I'm looking for? You get what I'm saying? Not morally, but yeah.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I no, but I agree wholeheartedly. Then, this is the last game before the rest day, which should be the one where Ding is the most tired. Gukesh has the white pieces. Like everything sort of was set up for him to put pressure. Also, he's been winning in the last two games. Yes, has also been worse, but that's another thing. Um, yeah, I think we just come back to that. His opening choice wasn't very good, and also he didn't take the one opportunity he had to actually put some pressure. Whether that was nerves, whether he missed something in his calculation or anything, I don't know. But I think 99 point whatever accuracy to Gukesh is absolutely worthless if he doesn't pose Ding any pressure. Like, yeah, Ding may have played played to 99% accuracy, but maybe one and a half moves that he played were actually hard. So that's the problem, that Gukesh didn't pose him any problems whatsoever, and yeah, as Levi said, he's running out of time. There are 2 white games left, for him to pressure Ding in the French or whatever he's going to play. And I think we can finally. I don't know, Levi, if you thought this before, but I think we're finally arrived at the point where Gukesh is not a favorite in this match anymore. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're at as pure a 50-50 match as it comes at this point.
Yeah, I will say I would agree with that. I also would add, for me, purely as a spectator, I still feel like all the risk factor is both with Ding and without and not with Ding, in the sense that, like you said, he's happy with the draw with White or with Black, but somehow it still feels like the extremes, the big time trouble, the potential mistakes in that time trouble and the evaluation swings also rest with Ding. Is that fair? I feel like Gukesh just could be a little bit more like toward the neutral spot. But Ding has been giving chances. He's been given a chance but he didn't think that he was any better. So I don't know, Magnus, like we might show up to game 10 and it's also complete chaos. Like, but it's mostly going to be caused by Ding, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree that it's a little bit of both, but Gukesh has also not shown the consistency to actually convert the positions that he converted the third game really, really well, but since then he has not shown the consistency to convert his better position. Yeah, it has by no means been easy. So it's not like we're sitting here and just saying he was winning in games 7 and 8 and he should have won. It's not as simple as that, but um, yeah. Ding is not going to go crazy. First of all, like Ding is not going to all of a sudden start. So I feel like it's still more up to Gukesh to take us to a point where there is serious imbalance in the game. I think like Ding is sort of trying to play for a win from the get-go with White, but then it's a little bit like people like Peter Lecco, for instance, or Geary at certain points, like they will play ambitiously from the start, but once you get once you get later in the game, for people, for certain people, like their instincts sort of set in, and they end up making, whether sort of they want to or not, they end up making sort of more negative choices than they probably should. So this, I think, is what is happening with Ding as well. That it's not like he sets out in his white games and doesn't try and play for a win, but I think once he reaches a point where he feels like he can take risk out of the equation, then it's just like too hard for him not to do.
All right. We've reached the point of the MVP and the piece of beep. And I just want to tell everyone watching this that you need to get the Take app. And one of my favorite parts about doing this post-game show together with Magnus and Levy is to have them name the MVP and piece of beep and then go into the app and just follow the journey of the pieces that they choose. So today, you guys, MVP, is it very hard today to pick those pieces?
Yeah, I honestly think, like, I love your introduction, Kaya, but I don't think we can justify such a game with those awards, because they traded off pieces in such a, like, it took a lot of moves before the first piece was traded off, but they traded off the pieces so quickly afterwards that no piece had any time to actually have a career or do any particular damage either. So I would say this game's award is null and void. I declare it right now.
That's okay. That's okay. If we can do it one day, it is today.
I will say an honorable mention for. I mean, I cannot possibly name an MVP. The piece of beep can be the white knight that ultimately drunkenly stumbled to the left side of the board instead of in the center, and yeah, it was the reason the game, Peter Leccoed out, or Peter Heined out, So there you go.
Yeah, so we need a beer emoji on that piece, actually.
Yeah, that's I don't know why it went that way, but it's what Gukesh wanted. There are no, there are no piece of beeps. There are only piece of beep players, in the words of Leonid Yudasin.
Yeah,
he did not say that.
I like it.
To paraphrase him, yeah.
The match is tied after 9 games. It is looking very likely that this will go to a game 14 and that maybe even we will have tie breaks. When we have a world champion, when this match is finished, there is another one-on-one match coming up. Take a look at this.
I'm going to try to take your rating points.
Good luck.
It's Sweden
versus Norway
It's old
versus young.
It's woman
versus man
Follow the Anna versus Odin match.
here in the Take 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 studio.
Anna Krumling and Odin, a friend of Magnus's, is going to play a match here in the Take 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 studio during the CCT finals, which is also in Oslo. It starts on December 19th. And it kind of similar to what you did with Pia Levy, the match that you had with Anna's mother, Pia Krumling. So
you're saying Odin? How do you say his name? You're saying he's an old
Odin.
man, or what are you saying? Odin. Yeah.
exactly. Magnus, what do you think about
Yeah,
this?
he just turned 40, so he is.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
But Anna is sort of on the same mission as you, Levy. She aims at some point maybe to become a GM. The short-term goal is 2,300, she says. And we see more of these matches now. The one-on-one matches, I think it's super cool. What do you think about those two playing here in this studio and Anna basically trying to take some rating points off Odin? Will she be able to?
I think it's fun. I think it gives people something to be more invested in. Like the Battle of Generations was great. It was fun to be a part of, and also it's something that really can't be pulled off here in the States so easily. Like here, everything costs money, rental cost. Everybody's trying to make some profit off of everything, and both events that I've done in Europe, the Clash of Claims, the infamous one, as well as the Battle of Generations, everyone's wonderful. So not to generalize, but I love all Europeans.
Oh, thank you, Levy. Magnus, what chances do you give Odin in this match? Your good friend Odin.
No, he played. He did get a Guinness World Record by playing the longest marathon. But I think he was down to Askild um, for the whole match and never had a chance. So shout out to Askild for winning that one. Uh, I think it's pretty open, and just as Larry, I love that matches like this are being set up. And one thing, so for all the sort of lack of enthusiasm about the MVP and the piece of whatever today, I think this match, naming those, is going to be a lot more fun. And you know, the interesting thing about matches like this is that you're going to see, of course, you're going to see evaluation swings, but you're also going to see a lot of good chess. You're going to see that players, even at a lower level, are able to find sequences at times that are of grandmaster level. But it's also going to show how hard they are to sustain. And I know that Anna, she also gets into time trouble a lot, and that Odin is an extremely dirty player in time trouble. So I think that may be her biggest challenge. Probably, considering the advice I gave Levy, it runs in the family a little bit. But yeah, that's gonna be gonna be fun to watch for sure.
Love it. And Magnus, you'll be playing at the same time because the CCT finals will be happening in Oslo at the same time. Are you ready for that? Are you match fit right now, do you feel?
No, I mean the only chess that I'm doing right now is watching the games and doing these recaps with you guys. So I don't really feel ready. But I was in really good chess shape the last time that I played in Singapore and before that in India. So I think I will be fine.
Yeah. A lot of cool chess coming up, you guys. We have Anna Odin, we have the CCT finals, the World Rapid and Blitz is coming up in the end of December as well. But first, we're going to name a world champion. Game 10 is in 2 days. Tomorrow is a rest day. Levy and Magnus, as always, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and insight. And to everyone at home, thank you so much for watching.